Sup, sad boys, how are we doing? I just want you to know that I'm just down to Red Bull, sugar-free, always. The better tasting Red Bull. Is that a controversial take? Today I'll be pitting two high school darlings against one another as I go song by song to determine if The Devil Wears Prada's Plagues is better than A Day to Remember's for those who have heart. Will I have the heart to get through this challenge? I don't know. Let's get tough, let's get mean, and let's listen to the number one pick, Goats on a Boat. With this first song, we get everything that makes The Devil Wears Prada great. There's a reason why they stood out above a lot of the other screamo metalcore bands at the time. They were very competent at their instrumentals. I am not the most religious of people, therefore their message never really touched me. But it's very easy to put that to the back of your mind when you're listening to the song and just feeling the energy coming off of the instrumentals. They ease you into the Christianity theming. Day to Remember chooses to open their album up with more of a letter to the folks who have gotten them here. We welcome you to the second chapter, 'cause we're turning the other page. I love how it just comes out the gate, just energetic, in your face, very easily able to sing along to, but also very heavy when it needs to be. You can already tell that Day to Remember just aren't half the musicians that The Devil Wears Prada seems to be, but they do know how to make a catchy hook. The contradiction in A Day to Remember seems apparent when they're acknowledging you as the only reason for the progress that we made. We came, we saw, we conquered. So we acknowledge you guys as the only reason why we are able to be the band that we are. My friends come first. That's the bottom line. Fuck you guys. Inside of each of us, there's two wolves. Gonna have to give it to Goats on a Boat. Just gives you much more of an idea of fully what this band is and what this band can bring to the table. I do want to say I much prefer this album art over whatever the fuck this overgrown shit is. I've never listened to this album and read the lyrics along with it. I knew they were Christian. I did not know how hard they went. They don't really give off the Christian vibe. They start to come off a little bit judgmental. You compromise your doctrine. You surrendered yourself to fashion. Who is this person and what is this fashion that went against your sacred doctrine? This right here. It's obvious that apocalyptic barriers will give no mercy to fashion. Your fashion gets sent straight to hell. If they sing this stuff in a way that people could actually be receptive to it, I don't think the band would have gone as far as they did. Day to Remember, make me feel better. A Day to Remember, on the other hand, is a band specifically designed for you to sing along with. Each song is meant for every person in the crowd to feel like it's meant for them and they can join it and be a part of this emotional wave. Someone has wronged them. My whole existence revolves around the progress that we've made, and I'll never be walked on again. A declaration that no one will strip me of the power that I've been able to obtain with the platform that I've created for myself. It goes a little far when they say, such a pretty picture, your chalk line on the ground, I hope you die. It's those moments that make you kind of roll your eyes, but that's the last 20 seconds of the song. The rest of the song is solid. You gotta sell the album to the tough, angry teenagers, and that's how you do it. We have one Devil Wears Prada, one A Day to Remember. I'm glad we were able to break up the mouse. This is an interesting color palette. We haven't talked about the singing yet. This is the first song that there's really been a chorus to it. When it came to these metalcore bands, you typically either really liked the screamer and the heavy parts, or you really liked the singer and how they did the choruses. Most bands took the A Day to Remember route and went more pop punk, where Devil Wears Prada is doing more metalcore rock vocals. I think it's something that really distinguishes them, but the vocals aren't necessarily what I come to the songs for. This is definitely one of the heavier cuts on this album, and I do like the breakdowns regardless of how cheesy they are. That tough guy shit didn't really work on me in high school. Doesn't really work on me now. Here, the breakdowns tend to go on a little too long, especially the one at the end. I just like HTML rules, dude. Way too much to not pick it. This song is so fucking hard, which makes it disheartening when I find that we're back on fashion. I'm finding that the mid-2000s was a weird time period fascinated with fashion. Say Anything has the Admit It song. I just did a System of a Down video where they talk about Hollywood.
Do you see the shit on your TV, guys?
They're talking about fashion as being this ultimate evil. Look at this shit. You want to talk about fashion? You want to talk about cashing in and corrupting? You were selling this to kids. There's so fucking many shirts. And they're gonna sit here and talk about how they're gonna pray for you amongst the reckless and the black. They may not be in charge with how they were marketed, but they're at least aware of it. I need some brotherly love. Come on, A Day to Remember. Make me feel loved. Oh, this one isn't gonna make me feel loved. I'll rip that scandalous bitch in two. I know they don't mean it, but there's a lot of weird cosplaying of killing your girlfriend, burying your friends, stabbing people, and after a while, you have to ask yourself, are they okay? That being said though, this song is a fucking classic. I'll never be a liar, but you'll always be two-faced. So fucking delicious. It's the Day to Remember song, though the music video does feature a sex criminal. So far, I find that once a pattern has emerged, it kind of sticks to this throughout the album. Maybe our number 5 pick will change that. Devil Wears Prada has some questionable fucking lyrics. I wish I could just rewrite all the lyrics and have everything on the album sound the exact same. I don't think Melt in Yellow as I do really comes off the way that they think it does. That being said, fuck, the song is heavy. It's Monday morning and I would kill for a chance to drive. A Day to Remember has the habit of getting a little too caught up in the sappy chorus. I would say Monument is the best meshing of how to do a poppier emotional song with heavier musical instrumentations. I like the idea of trying to be a monument, but also being self-aware that it's kind of weird that that's all you want to be. Out of the two, I am gonna go with Monument. It's what I would consider to be a classic A Day to Remember song. This has never been my favorite one on this album. It doesn't quite hit as hard, and it just kind of drags on. I do like Craig Owens, but I feel like his feature is wasted. You can barely hear him in the mix. He's relegated to the background, and he's not really utilizing his range of vocals. And it's going against what is barely a song. Great. The price we pay is forcing me to choose my least favorite Devil Wears Prada song. Sometimes that's just how things line up in the wacky world of rating music. I'm surprised they were able to stretch 9 lines for 4.5 minutes. That build up, just pumping, building to the break, stop. Fear beauty, that's the scariest thing of all. Someone that's beautiful, because if they're beautiful, then you're weak, then they got you. That being said, this song absolutely slapped. Forever being torn apart. This is when A Day to Remember tends to push a little too far in the poppiness, goes past what I find pleasurable. Don't be so sure of yourself, he said. If this was me, he would never know your name. Heart means everything. I just don't know what they're talking about at this point. I don't know what they're talking about here either, but at least it's more pleasurable to listen to. This is when I think the Christian imagery can actually work. When you're trying to conjure up something apocalyptic, bring it to your lips and experience the sulfur infect everything. So what if some of the other lyrics read like high school poetry? What if the clouds are fragments of mistakes, fabricated by the factories of our foolishness? Prove me wrong. Ooh, a tough contender from Day to Remember. We got another vengeance song. When we're famous and we're doing well, you're gonna be shown to be a dirty little liar, and your entire world will crush around you. It wasn't easy. This wasn't easy, guys. We have one of the better A Day to Remember offerings against one of the best Devil Wears Prada cuts on here. Which one pops up into my head when I'm dreaming of probably something terrifying deep into the night? I'm gonna say Reptar, King of the Ozone. I never knew that the very end, when they're just slamming the breakdown, they're screaming numbers. I almost wish that this album was similar to what they did with the Zombie EP, where every song was a concept under the broader concept of zombies. So I wish if this was their Plague album, then each song actually dealt with the plague, ditched the cutesy titles, and they like actually followed through on the concept a little. Are you okay, Jeremy? You seem a little angry. You seem a little upset. I don't think people would give A Day to Remember such a weird time about selling out if they didn't sing every single song about where they are in their career, how it relates to the people around them. They've changed, the other people changed, they miss touring, they miss being home, they're gonna show this town, we never belong here, but god damn it, I miss my friends. It's a weird alpha macho role-playing. What's the most you guys are gonna do? Go real hard in the circle pit? Ground stompies when you play your guitar? It is the most enjoyable form of this macho tough guy bro song. I'm gonna pick a shot in the dirt. I think they write the lyrics to the music. Everything always lines up perfectly, but the lyrics don't always make sense. This one feels a little more on theme, it feels a little more on point. The farmer that hung himself on the expectation of plenty. Envy will cease my sky, greed will cease my sky. The sins have commenced the plague. It's because of the sins of the land. We have an emotional song from A Day to Remember. This one comes together pretty well. They balance it without getting too sappy, without getting too soft. I would like to hear the sad story, but for now, all we have is this song to add to our playlist. And that completes the standard edition of Plagues, but we still have 2 more songs on For Those Who Have Heart. Then I think it's appropriate to look at the South Korean editions, which seems to be the only editions with bonus tracks. And if you know your Devil Wears Prada, then you know those are 2 songs from Dear Love. Actually, the final 2 songs off of Dear Love. Will they be able to hold their own against A Day to Remember? I don't have anything wrong with this album. I've just always felt that the production has severely held it behind. The low ends sound really muddied and the vocals just aren't mixed very well. That being said, this is one of the better cuts on the album. Going up against, I heard it's the softest thing ever. It's rare that the 11th song on the album can be one of the best cuts, but it does happen. Sometimes you save your goodest for the lastest. Despite the dumb fucking title, it's one of the catchier, heavier songs that doesn't feel like a complete 180 when you go into those separate parts. It has beaten the first of our bonus The Devil Wears Prada tracks. One more chance for The Devil Wears Prada. Damn. Okay, so not quite a full song, but I must say it really won me over by the end of it. It kicks in somewhere at the 2-minute mark and it does not let up. It's definitely not my favorite Day to Remember song, and that may be sacrilege to say any songs on this album are imperfect or less than desirable. It's another, hey guys, look at where we are, look what we've done, watch your step, you better not take it for granted, you better not be shitty to us because we're gonna be cool, we're gonna be big. If I want a good button, if I want a good ending to the album, The Devil Wears Prada provides a beautiful, heavy closer. So at the end of our journey, this is how we have stacked up. 6 Devil Wears Prada songs and 6 A Day to Remember songs. It's always interesting when it's about equal. A Day to Remember turned out being a little more nostalgic than I thought it was, and The Devil Wears Prada ended up being a little more, I honestly never looked too closely into the lyrics, and I'm surprised by what I found. But nevertheless, the music qualities still hit me just as hard as when this album first came out. And for these 2 albums to be just as tight and heavy almost a decade later really speaks to the musicianship that these 2 bands share. So this is my playlist. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What would you have chosen? What would you have left out? Should I have even compared these 2 albums? What 2 albums would you like me to compare next? Please let me know. Je